Imagine this. What if the harder you chase success, the faster it runs away from you, like a mirage in the desert that vanishes the moment you reach for it? What happens when you finally stop sprinting after trophies, titles, and bank balances, and instead start building a life so rich, so magnetic, so undeniably alive that success has no choice but to turn around and chase you? That is the paradox we are about to unravel today, because the greatest achievers in history didn't hunt success. They built something success couldn't resist. Let me take you into the life of a man named Elias, a 32-year-old corporate warrior who had everything on paper and nothing in his soul. A man who woke up one morning and decided to reverse engineer fulfillment before achievement. And in doing so, discovered the secret that turned his entire world upside down. Elias graduated top of his class from an Ivy League school, landed a six-figure job at a Fortune 500 consulting firm by 25, bought a luxury condo overlooking the city skyline by 28, and was promoted to senior partner by 31. On LinkedIn, he was the poster child of success. But every night, he collapsed into bed with a heart racing from anxiety and a mind screaming, "Is this it?" He had the watches, the cars, the vacations in Bali, yet he felt hollow, like a beautifully decorated house with no one living inside. He was chasing the next promotion, the next bonus, the next zero in his net worth, believing that if he just hit the next milestone, happiness would finally arrive. But every time he crossed a finish line, another one appeared farther ahead, and the exhaustion was eating him alive. One Tuesday morning in October, Elias overslept for the first time in 8 years. He woke up at 9:47 a.m., missed the strategy meeting, and instead of panicking, he sat on the edge of his bed staring at a framed photo of his late father, a simple schoolteacher who died at 58 with $11,000 in savings, but a smile that lit up every room he entered. Elias suddenly heard his father's voice echo from childhood. "Son, don't live for the applause. Live for the song in your heart, and the applause will follow." That single moment cracked something open inside him. He called in sick, opened his laptop, and instead of checking stock prices, he typed one question. What would my life look like if I stopped chasing success and started building a life worth chasing? That question became his rebellion. Elias quit the chase cold turkey. He didn't quit his job yet, but he stopped living for the next rung on the ladder. Instead, he started reverse engineering fulfillment the way engineers reverse engineer a perfect machine. He asked, what are the core components that make a human life feel undeniably alive? And he identified 5 non-negotiable pillars: deep relationships, purposeful work, physical vitality, spiritual alignment, and creative expression. He treated these pillars like the foundation of a skyscraper. No amount of gold-plated floors on the top level would matter if the foundation crumbled. First pillar, deep relationships. Elias realized he hadn't had a conversation longer than 10 minutes without checking his phone in years, so he instituted sacred Sundays. Every Sunday, he turned off all devices and spent the entire day with people he loved. Breakfast with his mother, hiking with his sister, dinner with old college friends he had ghosted for promotions. At first, it felt inefficient, like wasted time he could have spent networking, but within 3 weeks, something wild happened. His sister told him, "I haven't seen you this present since we were kids." And his best friend confessed he was about to give up on their friendship because Elias had become a ghost. Those words hit harder than any performance review. Second pillar, purposeful work. Elias audited every task at his job and asked, "Does this light me up or drain me?" He discovered he loved mentoring junior analysts but hated endless PowerPoint decks, so he volunteered to lead the mentorship program and delegated slide making to eager interns. Suddenly, his 80-hour weeks felt like 40 because the hours he spent pouring into people gave him energy instead of stealing it. His boss noticed the shift, his mentees started crushing their goals, and within 6 months, Elias was offered a new role, head of talent development, same pay grade, but work that felt like play. Third pillar, physical vitality. Elias had been living on Red Bull and takeout, so he hired a trainer not to get six-pack abs for Instagram, but to feel unbreakable. He started with 20-minute walks while listening to audiobooks about philosophy. then added strength training 3 times a week. Within 90 days, his energy doubled, his anxiety attacks vanished, and he slept like a child for the first time since college. He realized the body isn't a machine to abuse on the way to success. It's the only vehicle that carries your dreams, and when you honor it, it honors you back. 4th pillar, spiritual alignment. Elias grew up Catholic but had abandoned faith for spreadsheets, so he started a 10-minute daily practice. 5 minutes of gratitude journaling, 5 minutes of meditation, asking, "What is mine to do today?" He didn't join a religion. He simply reconnected to a sense of something bigger than his ego, and suddenly setbacks stopped feeling personal. They felt like plot twists in a story he no longer needed to control. 5th pillar, creative expression. Elias had played guitar in high school but sold it to buy his first Rolex. So he bought a cheap acoustic on Craigslist and committed to learning 1 new song every week. He posted blurry videos on a private Instagram just for fun, no followers, no likes needed. Within months, he was writing his own songs about the emptiness of climbing ladders that lead nowhere, and performing at open mic nights became the highlight of his week. Creativity stopped being a nice to have and became oxygen. 9 months into this experiment, something statistically impossible started happening. Success began chasing Elias. Headhunters called with offers 40% higher than his current salary, but he turned them down because he no longer needed more money to feel enough. Venture capitalists approached him to consult on leadership development because his mentees were dominating the industry. A publishing house discovered his song lyrics online and offered him a book deal to write about reverse engineering fulfillment. His net worth actually increased because he stopped impulse buying status symbols and started investing in experiences and index funds. But the craziest part, he didn't care about any of it the way he used to. The money, the titles, the applause, they were just pleasant side effects of a life that finally felt like home. Then came the turning point that almost broke him all over again. On the 1-year anniversary of his rebellion, Elias received an email. "Congratulations, you've been selected for the Global 40 Under 40 list, the ultimate ego candy. The thing he would have sold his soul for 2 years earlier. The old Elias would have screamed yes, but the new Elias felt a wave of dread. He realized accepting it would pull him back into the chase, the interviews, the panels, the endless validation loop. That night, he walked to the river near his apartment, threw the printed email into the water, and whispered, "I'm not for sale anymore." The next morning, he woke up lighter than ever, and in that moment, he understood the deepest truth. Success is a terrible master but an incredible servant. When you chase it, it owns you. When you build a life of depth, it begs to serve you. Here's the moral burning inside this story, the actionable code you can steal today. Stop optimizing for outcomes and start optimizing for inputs. Reverse engineer fulfillment first, achievement second. Implement the 5-pillar audit this week. Write down your current score 1 to 10 for deep relationships, purposeful work, physical vitality, spiritual alignment, and creative expression. Anything below an 8 gets 90 minutes of focused love every single day until it rises. Say no to everything that doesn't align with those pillars, even if it looks like success on paper. Protect your sacred Sundays like a billionaire protects his calendar. Move your body like it's the only one you'll ever have. Create something every week that no one asked for and no one will pay for. Because here's the secret. The world doesn't want you to know. When your life becomes a masterpiece, the world lines up to pay for tickets. Elias is now 35, married to a woman who loves the man he is, not the resume he had. They have a daughter who will never see her father choose a promotion over a bedtime story. He runs a 7-figure coaching business that grew without a single sales call because people feel his energy across a screen. He hasn't checked his net worth in 2 years because he already feels infinitely rich. And every year, on the anniversary of throwing that 40 under 40 email into the river, he gathers his closest friends, plays the first song he wrote during his rebellion, and they toast to the day he stopped chasing success and started building a life that success desperately wants to chase. So here's my final charge to you. Close this video, open your Notes app, and write the question that started Elias's revolution. What would my life look like if I stopped chasing success and started building a life worth chasing? Then answer it ruthlessly, honestly, bravely, because the moment you start building that life, the universe will conspire to make success your shadow instead of your master. And you, my friend, will never have to run again.